This review is gonna hurt. Hey guys, how is everybody doing? And welcome back to my Christopher Nolan review series. And the next one on the list is his movie Dunkirk. Now, this is actually a movie that I was really looking forward to rewatching because the first time I watched it back 3 years ago when I first did this review series and my first ranking, I didn't really like Dunkirk all that much. I thought it was pretty boring, and I thought it was really tame compared to a lot of the other Christopher Nolan movies. And for someone that really enjoys a lot of war movies, I really thought this would be up my alley, but unfortunately when I watched it, I didn't really care for it too much. However, I also kind of thought like, oh, maybe because it was just at the time, I have different perspectives on films now. I can gather my thoughts better and not be a dumbass. So, this was a movie I was really looking forward to watching, and I guess that young naive version of me was correct the whole time. Starting off with my positives on Dunkirk, though, and my first positive is the sound design. Now, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe it won like 3 Oscars for like sound mixing, sound design, and sound editing, something like that, and very well deserved because the sound design in this movie is very good. And for this movie taking place during World War II, and well, pure its title, I guess if you know anything about Dunkirk, you would already know that, but the sound design throughout the whole movie, whether it was them shooting off their guns or the planes or them on the ship, the sound design throughout the whole movie was very, very good. I really enjoyed it, and it was definitely something that kind of stood out the most throughout the whole movie. Which a lot of war movies seem to have very good sound design, no matter which one it is that you watch, and this one is definitely up there for one of being one of the best ones. And something that I like that not a lot of war movies do, but this one does, which this is what Christopher Nolan was going for. I like how this movie shows you the different perspectives of the war. Now, obviously, we have it on land, pretty much just like on a beach or whatever, wherever they're at. It looks like they're on a beach, or at sea when they're on boats or traveling or whatever, like the whole dynamic with Killian Murphy's character and that whole group or whatever. And we also get the perspective of being up in the sky during war with the fighter jets. I really enjoyed that throughout the whole movie. I really felt like that really adds to it and makes this movie different and makes it stand out among a lot of war movies. So and I don't really know if a lot of war movies have done that, shown like different perspectives throughout the whole movie. It kind of reminded me of like an anthology type of thing where, we're focusing on the land with these characters, and then we're focusing on the sea with these characters, and then while we're up in the sky, we're focusing on Tom Hardy and this other dude. So that's something I really liked throughout the whole movie, and that's something that they added that I really think makes this movie stand out. And unfortunately, that's all I had for positive. So moving on to my mixed aspects. And my one mixed aspect is this movie tends to aim for basically making you feel like you're in the war. That's what this whole movie is. It doesn't really focus on a story, it doesn't focus on characters, nor does it focus on its writing, which I think is a very lackluster thing of this film. But this movie just tries to make you feel like as if you're part of the war or experiencing the war, whether it's on land, at sea, or in the sky, or whatever. Now, one, I do think that Christopher Nolan does a very good job at that. I feel like what he was aiming to do and what he's trying to do, I do think that works very well. Now, personally, I do have another issue with this, with the kind of tying to this later on, but for this movie just simply trying to just focus on the war and making you feel like you're in that, make you feel like you're in the war. I really enjoyed that. I think that's something that's really cool. But at the same time, when that's all you're focusing on and you don't focus on any characters or story or writing or anything else, that does not interest me. Because when I watch a film, I like to focus on characters. I like to focus on a story, and especially Christopher Nolan movie. He comes up with brilliant stories and brilliant concepts, and he also has really likable characters and popular and Mount Rushmore like characters like Heath Ledger's Joker or whatever. So when you only focus on that, you kind of lose my interest. And now moving on to my negatives. And my first negative is very much so a nitpick. I really hate how they made this movie PG-13. This is supposed to be a World War II movie. And to me, I think it's bullshit that the fact that you make this movie PG-13, because like I was just talking about, this movie's goal is to make you feel like you're in the war, to make you feel like you're there, making you feel like you're experiencing it. However, when you make it PG-13 and there's no like violence or some sort of violent death, like you don't really feel like you're in there. And I don't really want to compare this to other war movies, but it's kind of hard not to. My all-time favorite war movie, and like it's in my top 10 favorite movies of all time, I guarantee it, is Saving Private Ryan. I adore that movie. That's one of my all-time favorite films. That is my personal favorite Steven Spielberg movie. And he does such a brilliant job of making you truly feel like you're there, not only due to like the violence, but the war, like you are just sitting there just uncomfortable the whole time. To me, that is my standard when it comes to war movies. When you want to make me feel like I'm in the war, that movie is the movie. But this movie, you kind of lose that just from that PG-13 rating. No, in no fucking way should a war movie be PG-13. Fucking had a stroke there. No,
Today, Junior!
in no world should a World War II movie be PG-13. Finally got it out. And like I was talking about in my mixed aspects, the characters in this movie, they're not even characters to root for. Like, there's a lot of good cast members in here. You got Tom Hardy and Cillian Murphy and a lot of other big name actors, and for some weird fucking reason, Harry Styles is in this movie, but whatever. But you got a lot of big name actors in this movie, but not even that is enough to save the characters because, hell, I don't even know any of their names. I couldn't tell you one fucking name throughout this entire movie. I cannot tell you any of these guys' names. There is no backstory. There's no background on the character. There's really literally nothing. All you literally are literally any all my god, I can't speak right now. All of these characters are just you watching what they're doing throughout the experience of war. Now, you don't learn anything about them. You don't know anything about their personality or what they look forward to getting out of the war or just how they got there, or you just don't know them personally, which maybe that's how war is. Maybe you don't know the people that you're fighting with. But usually when you're at war, maybe you would talk to someone. I don't fucking know. But to me, the characters throughout this whole movie are just bland. And that really hurts to say because Christopher Nolan has had a lot of interesting characters, whether that was from Memento, Heath Ledger's Joker, any of the characters from Inception, hell, fucking Coop from Interstellar, which I just talked about. And Christopher Nolan has always had likable characters and compelling characters, but in this one, not a single one. And my last negative, and it kind of hurts to say this is a pretty lifeless Nolan movie because it doesn't really have that Nolan love that we know. It doesn't have that magic, that beautiful concept, or anything really. This movie doesn't really have that Nolan magic like you usually would. When you watch movies like Inception, Interstellar, Memento, Insomnia, whatever, you always have this Christopher Nolan field where his handprint and his fingerprints are all over the movie. But with this one, there was just nothing down to the poor writing, no characters to like, and just simply trying to make you feel the war, which he does a very good job at doing. That's all this movie really has going for it. But all in all, guys, this is probably the first Christopher Nolan movie to where I would say I didn't really care for. Now, does it have its moments of enjoyment? Sure, I do think that there are moments where this movie is enjoyable, but thank God that this is one of his shortest movies, because if this movie was one of his long movies, like 2.5 hours, I would probably have a lot more issues with this movie. But, as just a short 90-ish minute movie, it's a passable movie. Maybe if you're a huge war buff and you don't really care about characters, this movie might work for you, but as a generic film, I probably wouldn't really recommend this one. But what do you guys think about Dunkirk? Have you seen it? What do you think about it? Do you like this movie? Do you not like this movie? Is this actually one of your favorite war movies? And is this actually one of your favorite Christopher Nolan movies? Let me know in the comments below and we shall talk about it. If you like this video, like it. If you love it, subscribe, hit the bell notifications so you will get notified for all of my latest videos. And of course, until my next video, I'll see you all next time.